Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Recha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And I got a few headlines here, mainly some events that were transpiring today. Now, there's reports that apparently Iran attacked UAE, and so now UAE is threatening retaliation, along with speculation of the ceasefire, possibly being over or ended over something like this, which Israel is already itching to attack again. And in one of the other headlines I have on here, you'll see why it all makes sense, the timing of it all. So let's read a little bit of this here. It says, ceasefire over, U.S. mum as UAE, Israel prepare military response after fresh Iranian cross-Gulf missile attack. Fajira. Now, I haven't seen, any reports from Iran, or whether confirming or denying that they were behind the attack. But once again, that's just me. Maybe I haven't seen it. Maybe they have put something out. But it's once again, the timing is interesting. And with a matter as sensitive as this, it just doesn't make sense, right? It just doesn't make sense. And what I mean by that is, it wouldn't make sense for the U.S. or really in particular Israel to just say, okay, we're okay with a ceasefire and then an ending to the war, and then we'll call it a day. Because if you look at what has actually transpired since they attacked Iran, all the things they really said they wanted to do, they wouldn't be able to gain as much as they really wanted to do, right? Because if peace is what you wanted, then you shouldn't have bombed them in the first place. But you go and bomb them, you cause all this turmoil, this global turmoil, energy crisis, and so on. You say you don't want them to have a nuclear weapon and blah, blah, blah. And that you want their uranium, you want their oil, and you want complete control over the strait. And then you turn around and say, okay, now they're willing to make a deal, so we're good now. Nah, it doesn't work that way, because then they still have their uranium, they still have control over the strait. Yeah, they've implemented a blockade, but that's on the stance of conflict, right? It's like, well, if you attack me, I'll attack you. So that's not total control over the strait. And Israel is definitely not okay with this, because Yahoo knows exactly where he's going. should true peace be instituted. Okay, so let's read the summary here. It says, Fujairah says 3 injured in Iranian attack on oil industry zone. UAE confirms air defenses are now dealing with a missile threat. We have gotten reports of explosions in Dubai, which has sent oil higher and M&E futures into the red. UAE threatens retaliation. Now, what's also interesting about this, which I wouldn't put it past, the Esau, right, is to set something up and then blame it on Iran. And they've done that in the past. Okay, they've done that. They've been caught doing that. So it's definitely nothing new. CENTCOM hails 2 U.S. merchant ships exiting Hormuz Strait safely in first step. Besson issues remarks warning the U.S. will fire if fired upon. Iran insists Hormuz is under its control and says it targeted and struck a U.S. Navy vessel, which the Pentagon/Central Command has denied. So Iran says, no, we attacked, we hit one of your vessels. The Pentagon says, nope, that's not what happened. That didn't happen. Oh, man. Trump announced Sunday the U.S. will help free up, quote-unquote, ships, or, quote, help free up ships stuck in Hormuz Strait through Project Freedom. A lot of projects, huh? Iran has, in a response, issued a redefined control zone in the strait. Cool. So now let's read a little bit here, some more details on this actual ceasefire breaking here. There remain lingering questions over whether the U.S.-Iran ceasefire has definitively broken down with today's Iranian attack on the UAE. And remember, Trump was just recently briefed on his options, you could say, on Iran, and I did a lesson on that, on the kind of things that they were actually advising him on, and using hypersonic missiles and different forms of sort of like a large scale attack on them, and then call it a day. But that's like going and grabbing a dog's ears and then thinking that, okay, that's it, now we're good now. And the dog's just gonna sit there and look at you and say, yeah, okay, now we're good. Where are we at? Yeah, it says, as well as tit-for-tat hostilities in the Persian Gulf area. This, as Israeli media says, the Netanyahu government is awaiting a green light to attack Iran again. Now, you notice in the public eye, right, in the public view, they had to take this stance, right? They have to sort of make it look like the U.S. is leading it, Israel is following suit. Israel, if Trump says don't attack, then they're not going to attack, and if they get the green light, then they're going to go ahead and attack. And remember, there was a lot of talk, right, a lot of publicity around Israel controlling the U.S., and then Trump came out and basically, he had to make a public statement about it. Yahoo, Bibi basically came out and he also said something, oh, you think anybody can control Trump? And that's all to sort of throw you off and make you believe the opposite. So when they phrase it in such a way that, no, yeah, Netanyahu's government is awaiting a green light, as if they're not the ones behind the scenes, as if it's not in reverse, right? Also, the UAE is now planning a severe retaliatory response and harsh revenge against Tehran, per MS Now. So say this should go ahead, right? They do go ahead and they do this. Then you're back to square one, saying that loosely because it might even be worse than square one, right? And so the when they have those ceasefires and all these things, it just keeps things going, right? It prolongs the time. But right now, gas is still going up. I remember I went to the gas station. It was $4.09, and 3 days later, it was $4.35. That's with cash, and $4.45 with without cash, regular with the card or whatever. So it's going up. All right, all this time, even when there's a ceasefire institute, it's going up, and eventually it goes from, well, where can I buy the cheapest gas to where can I just even buy gas at all? And when certain states start running out of gas, you're going to start to see that it's not going to be looking too good. Now, as it stands right now, it's already not looking too good. Okay? And this guy is realizing, yo, what happened to 4 to 6 weeks? You can't just, run away from this. They're trying to find a way to, try and wrap it up nicely, but it's not going that way. You see? And it's not looking too good for Trump's numbers either. Where are we at? It says, yet strangely, the latest statement out of CENTCOM doesn't touch on the question of a broken ceasefire, and President Trump himself has been silent on the matter, per AP. Cooper declined to say whether the exchange of hostilities between U.S. and Iranian forces in the Strait of Hormuz today amounted to an end of the ceasefire agreement. Cooper told reporters in a phone call this afternoon that Iran initiated aggressive behavior in the Strait, according to a readout of the call provided by the Associated Press. What we saw this morning was Iran initiating aggressive behaviors, Cooper said. We are simply going to respond to that. So this is what you have going on in the, this whole ceasefire situation, which we knew that it's just a matter of time, right? You're not gonna ceasefire your way out of prophecy. That's not gonna happen. And this is also a headline. This also came out today, a little after this article was published. It says, Israel, Hoyam citing sources, the U.S. and Israel are weighing strikes on Iranian missile launchers and energy facility in retaliation for the Iranian attack on the UAE. So, and that's the thing. That's how tit for tat works, right? Once somebody does something, the other side has to respond. That's how it goes. So you hit me, I hit you back. I'm hitting you back because you hit me first. And then the one who hit you first is saying, well, now you hit me, so now I'm going to hit you. And then it's just a whole, you hit me, I hit you. You hit me, I hit you. Now, this is also an interesting thing here we're seeing, and I'll explain more as to why this is interesting, right? So Trump disapproval rate hits career high. War and rising costs take toll. Yes, this is not just gas prices going up, right? But this is going to affect, it's already affecting other sectors, even manufacturing, right? Lately, you know, like the release of the new iPhone 17 that came out, it's pretty much been like super scarce, right? Not super scarce, but like it's very difficult to even get it because it's selling out so fast. But sometimes people just think of it as, well, it's selling out so fast because, oh, it's a new thing, everybody wants it. Yes, okay, that's there. That usually happens with, you know, a lot of things. But the rate at which it's going, it's actually because of this whole, you know, energy crisis, war that's going on, because that's also affecting manufacturing, okay, shipping and all of that. So less and less is able to get out because now it's if you can even get your shipments at all, the price is going to go up. Okay, the price is going to go up because the entire process of making it, remember that sometimes you pick up an object, you take the phone, right? You look at the phone, you're like, okay, well, I mean, the things you need to make the phone itself, the materials that it's made of, okay, maybe you can manage that. But what about the factories that you make it at? What about the materials that you need to keep those factories running? What about all of those other external factors that play a role? When those are affected, this is also affected. You may have ingredients. You may go to the grocery store, buy all the ingredients you need. You're like, okay, I can make dinner. But you can't make dinner without the stove, without a sink, without a kitchen. And you may have all of those, but if you don't have any electricity in your house, how are you going to do that? You know, so it's like, it's not just the main core of whatever it is you're using. It's about what it's connected to, and when those systems or chains are broken, how that eventually links up and affects you. So going back here, it says, though tempered by the prospect of additional GOP gerrymandering of the House district in the wake of a pivotal Supreme Court decision, Democrats' hopes for a rout of Republicans in the approaching midterm elections are rising after a Washington Post, ABC News, we'll just call it poll, found that President Trump's disapproval rating is now the highest of either of his 2 terms in office. Now, remember how eager people were to vote in Biden. And it wasn't because they love Biden's policies. He ain't come and do shit. It was because they wanted Trump out of there so badly. And now they're saying his disapproval ratings are now higher than even then. Trump's decision to launch a war on Iran is taking a toll. People are seeing it, people are feeling it, and their pockets are getting hurt. Voters are not only dismayed by his handling of Iran, but also dissatisfied with his work on the economy, which is itself being harmed by the war. There's a different, the difference in the levels of anger that people have varies. When you don't promise anything and then you come and mess shit up, yes, people get pissed. They say things were fine before this guy got here. But when you promise something and you come and do the opposite and then mess things up, they get even more angry. They get more angry because not only are you messing things up, but they got their hopes up. And now they feel deceived. And now what they were looking forward to, making plans on, and all that is gone. Opposite, down the drain. And then they keep hearing you coming out and telling them the same BS rhetoric that they've been hearing for the past couple months. But you're saying one thing and everything, the opposite is happening. So now they don't even want to hear it anymore. It says here, in a survey of U.S. adults taken in the last week of April, 62% said they disapprove of his general performance in the Oval Office. A whopping 76% disapprove of his handling of the cost of living and 66% disapprove of what he's done with Iran. A majority of Americans surveyed expressed disapproval of his handling of every issue covered by the survey. So now what's going to happen here when you're losing, if you haven't already, lost the trust of the people, even some of those that voted for you in your MAGA base. And now midterm elections are coming up, and it's not looking like it's going to be good for you. Well, on a similar note, you have here Israeli Channel 12, Israeli Army, and I did a lesson on this not too long ago about why they needed to start this war back up because of this guy's court case. So Israeli Army and Mossad are recommending to the political level to resume the war against Iran. Netanyahu will not testify in court tomorrow due to the escalation of the situation in the Middle East. In wartime, that's why his case has been prolonged for so long. In wartime, things are handled differently. So they can hide behind that fact of we're in a state of emergency, so we have to sort of operate in that mode until all of this is done. And then you can go back to addressing things as they were before. So when you go back to this guy, Trump here, eventually when they start to see that, yeah, it doesn't look like you're going to be able to get these people, to vote for your side. And if this election does go down, then it's not going to look too good for you. They're going to start thinking, if they haven't already, about how can you either one, do something similar to what is being recommended over here in the next headline by the Mossad, right? To say, you know what, call off the elections, right? Or we're in such a state of emergency, like we can't even go ahead and do this vote. Or something just happened and now we got to blah, 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 shut all this down. We got to keep things as they are until it's resolved. Eventually, that's the kind of direction you start to have to head in, because you're like, yo, if I can't win it through people actually voting for me, then I got to use another means. Because once the Democrats get up in there was even talk about them impeaching him. So once they get up in there, he knows, it's going to be a much more, different. It's going to look much different, than it did the past, year or so that he's been in office. So they know that with his disapproval rating going up and things not getting better for people, and they're starting to see through the BS and the lies, a lot of people are looking to, go vote the opposite way. And this guy, he cares about that. Now, there was another part in here I wanted to just highlight. It says Trump also scored terribly on some personal attributes. For example, 71% said the descriptors honest and trustworthy are not applicable to Trump. Now, you wonder why 71% of people will say that. It's not like he came out and he comes out and says A and it's not even B, C, D, or E. It's not even close. It's not even in the alphabet. But he'll come and tell you it's A. We're doing this, we're doing that. The gas prices are not going to go up, and then boom. Oh, they're going to come down quick. Boom. That's not happening. So people are seeing and they're like, yo, you're saying one thing, you're not doing it. You're saying another thing, the opposite is happening. You can't trust the words that come out of his mouth. 71% of people, and it's going to go up as people start to get more and more frustrated. While 67% said Trump does not carefully consider important decisions. Oh, I'm going to come and stop wars, not start them. And now you just went and started one of the biggest ones. Because that's what it's going to be. Meanwhile, 51% says he lacks the mental sharpness required for his position. So it ain't looking too good for DJ Trump. And he's going to have to do something. Okay? He's going to have to do something, just like just like the Israeli army and the Mossad are recommending that something be done here, in particular, resuming the war for Bibi's sake. This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. And that's the part to highlight right there, right? Wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And when we look into that word rumors over here, this is why you hear the back and forth. You hear the rhetoric on this side and then that side. And then one side says, yeah, if you if you cross and come over here, we're going to do this. And then that's going to lead to that. You know, and then the other side said, well, we're going to blow them off the face of the earth. Oh, we're going to destroy a whole civilization, knowing what that's going to mean for that, in terms of destabilization for that region. So here in the rumors, it says hearsay, report, or rumor. And that's what you're hearing, right, on both sides. This side has done this. Oh, that means that this is happening. Or this side has done that. And it's from the side of Iran. It's from the side of the U.S. It's from the side of Israel, and so on and so forth. But these things we're seeing right now in itself is also fulfilling prophecy. And Yahushua said, all these are the beginning of sorrows. Interesting enough, right? He also mentioned in verse 7, nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom, famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And farmers have been warning for a long time, which is getting worse with the whole fertilizer shortage due to this very same war that's going on in the Middle East. So a lot is happening, but the situation is always fluid. So you got to follow it. And as Yahushua said, we got to watch as well as pray. But you got to watch, okay? Always stay upon your watch, because yesterday could be, in terms of, the temperature of prophecy, yesterday could have been, 30 degrees. And then today is 120 degrees. And you like, what just happened? So you got to always be on watch, because what seems like it's cold can quickly turn very hot. Anyway, with that, I'm going to end it here. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rachak, Kodash. Until next time, Shalom.